Paintball nerd.
Today's guest on Paintball Nerds Fun 5 started playing paintball in 2005. He went pro in 2017 with AC Dallas. In 2021, he went to Infamous. He's the founder of Arc Anodizing. He's got a Rookie of the Year award from GoSports. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show, Mr. Ryan Hall.
What's up, everybody? How's it going?
What's up, Ryan? How you doing, man?
Good, man. Good.
Good. Well, hey, congratulations for third place at the Lone Star. That was good, huh?
Yeah, not bad. Good improvement. Definitely trending in the right direction for our team here over at Infamous.
Yeah, man. I mean, and you guys were the only ones to beat Dynasty that weekend.
Yeah, that felt good beating them. That's kind of been a hitch in our armor, and I guess everybody's armor for the last couple of years. They've been playing really well, so that was good to start off first match of the event with the win. And that also, pretty tough bracket. So that kind of puts us in more or less a driver's seat there. And sure enough, it came down to everybody's last match, three-way tie for first. Everyone went 3-1. So it's always good to get that first tough win, right out of the way.
Yeah, man. How do you think the team's poised to do for the next event?
Good. We are unfortunately going to be missing Jonah next event. So that's going to be, a big hurt. He's got some work life things going on, some really cool, exciting stuff for him. But everybody else will be there. And, like I said, we're trending in a very upward direction. So if we keep everything together and keep doing what we're doing, pretty excited for the future of Infamous.
Right on, dude. How do you feel like your performance was at Lone Star?
I think I played well. At Lone Star, I had a pretty dedicated role job, but it was an important job. It's another one of those funky fields we've had for the last couple of events where you kind of put four guys on one side and then you have a guy helping all the way across, and I was the across help guy, so my job was basically just to buy time for the other side. So a pretty difficult kind of role position, but we was able to do pretty well and made a deep Sunday run. I think we had a good shot at winning that event, and came up a little short, and that's how paintball goes. So,
dude, I heard a lot about the layout at Lone Star, that it was very much so a go to your spot and do your job type of field. There wasn't there. In other words, there's some fields where creativity thrives, and there's some fields where doing your job thrives, and that was one of them where it's like you had to get there and get at the spot and do your job.
For sure. So, like I said, it's another one of those funky fields that we've had, kind of two events in a row where you'll see one guy Dorito way, four guys Snake way, more or less. And even more so at this last event, you really kind of saw the same breakouts right away. Maybe one variant on base of where the home guy kind of shot, and then your Snake guy would vary a little bit. But at the very least, 20 seconds into the point, everybody was in the same spots. Everyone was doing the same thing. And this field kind of played to me like a three-man tournament did, in the sense that in a three-man tournament, the first team to lose that first guy is going to lose most of the points. And that's kind of how this field was, is that first team to lose the first guy, that 4-on-5, it's really hard to claw back from because everybody's doing the exact same thing. And then once you have that extra gun, you can start playing that 2-on-1 paintball. So it was very much of go to your spot, don't mess up. You take the opportunities when you can get them. But there weren't a whole lot of opportunities presented on this field. So it's definitely when that happens, when the creativity goes down, then your jobs comes back and it's all about execution.
So Ryan, what do you think Infamous does better? What type of field do you think you guys play better on? Do your job fields or create havoc, creativity type fields?
So historically, Infamous has always been the smash mouth, in your face kind of paintball style. That's the style that Travis likes to coach. He likes to gear up with a lot of weapons, a lot of fast dudes, a lot of guys that want to go and be creative. And that's kind of the style Infamous has always been known for. But our issue has been playing that kind of slow ball. So that's what we've really focused on. Added a couple key guys that do job oriented, positions. And that's really what we've been focused on. We've had a pretty cool opportunity to have a private field in Giant Party Sports up in North Dallas. Let us have the entire field, do whatever we want. And we have enough guys where we can play ourselves. So it's been a lot of inter team practices, setting up situations, and forcing ourselves to play that slow ball. Yeah, we have a lot of weapons, but paintball is kind of evolving into the, well, everybody has to be able to do everything, and at
Yeah.
any, everyone has to be able to do a job amazingly well. And as soon as you get the upper hand, everyone has to be an attacker. So
Yeah.
we got the attacker part down. It's the rest of it, the communication, the slow play, things like that that we've been focused on. And I think we've seen a pretty big improvement in our slow play, as evidence from Dallas and even the last event coming out of a tough bracket.
Well, I think it certainly says a lot that you placed third, playing outside your guys' comfort zone. It was kind of that lock it up type field, and you guys are still progressing in the right direction. So I would say people need to watch out for Infamous at the MAO.
Yeah, for sure. And it's an interesting thing to say because Infamous historically has been a very winning team throughout the history. But I mean, pure honesty, we haven't been performing lately last few years. I know whenever I came to the team, they just came off a really bad World Cup experience. I think we got dead last at World Cup this last year. So there's a lot of room for improvement, and nobody's happy with our performance by any means. So it's kind of okay. Now we're back into, we had a top three finish, semifinals. That's kind of the expectation. A lot of the veterans on the team is that's where we should start the tournament. But historically, we haven't been there the last couple of years. So it's good to, okay, now we're there. Let's see if we can keep it up, kind of situation.
Right on. Well, you're not only a top pro. Many people might not be aware of your anodizing business, Arc Anodizing. So, Ryan, how did you? You told me the story in Guadalajara, but I forget how you stumbled upon anodizing. So, share that with us.
Here we go. So, it all started way back. I've always been a big nerd in all aspects of my life. I ended up going to school for engineering. I was always the guy that wants to take things apart, put things back together, just a big nerd, right? Well, one of the most difficult guns that ever produced to be a nerd, over is the autococker. So I was always I drove straight into that. I was like, I want the hardest thing, the worst thing to shoot and hardest thing to tune. So when I was in high school, I was building autocockers. That was my hobby. That's what I did. And essentially, when you're building things from the ground up, eventually you have to go get them anodized if you want them to look good. So I just found myself in the position of, well, I'm always sending these projects out to get anodized, and it'd be a big cost saving if I could figure out how to do it myself, So a buddy of mine and I kind of like each threw in a few $100, bought some 5-gallon buckets, the little starter pack kit. And we're like, let's see if we can make our stuff black at least and make it all match and kind of go from there. And sure enough, we did. And by no means was it super high quality or anything like that, but we got enough to kind of get us going down that road. And then we do all of our own stuff. Then you do a buddy's gun, and then you do, two buddies' guns. The next thing you know, somebody will throw you a couple dollars to do something that you would have done for free anyway. And then it just, tumbleweeds down and down and down. And it's something I've done since 2012 when I was in high school. Kind of kept it up all through college. That was kind of my beer money, my spending money, and my paintball money, because paintball is not the most lucrative sport in the world. It costs a lot of money to get to the top, whether it's your money or you have some outside support or whatever it may be. So I needed some money, and it kind of paid some bills, and next thing you know, get out of college with my degree, go off and get a real job. And then I found out that, well, real jobs make you work a lot. And by no means am I a stranger to working a lot, but it's, you start out with 2-3 weeks vacation and you're like, man, at the time I was playing in Europe, I was playing all the NXLs, playing some ICPLs, UWLs, whatever it may be. And it's like, my last couple of years of college, I counted up, I was playing paintball 48 weekends in the year. So you spill over some Mondays, you spill over some Fridays, and then for NXLs you're there Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, maybe a Monday depending on the flights. I didn't have enough vacation time, so there's just no other way to do it. And I was like, well, I have this kind of anodizing thing I've been doing in my back pocket for the longest time. I know I can make a little money doing that, and it got to the point where I was missing tournaments because I couldn't get off from work. So eventually I quit. Best decision I ever made.
Yeah.
Went back to anodizing full time, and yeah, it's been history since then. We've been able to do several expansions, bring on more people, allow me to play paintball. Almost everybody that works for Arc is a paintball player too, so that's awesome. We're just surrounded by paintball 24/7.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been a great ride so far.
Well, Arc is I mean, it's a huge business now. It's like, who do you anodize for? It's several companies, right?
So we anodize for all kinds of companies in the industry, and it's not something we advertise a whole lot. It that kind of goes back to, like, I guess my personality is I'm not the big attention seeker and things like that. I always look at it as doing my job, but at the end of
Yeah.
the day, we anodize for more than half the companies in the industry, and not
Wow.
exclusively. So there's companies
Yeah.
that still have get their solid colors done overseas or at their local job they've been doing for years. But we anodize for companies such as we do a lot of stuff for Dye directly. We do a lot of stuff for Lone Wolf Paintball. We do
Hmm.
exclusive stuff for Free Flow. So this year alone, we'll probably do something in the neighborhood of 400 Free Flow guns.
Wow.
Um, we do Pro Edge Paintball. John Jackson down there, one of my old teammates. Shoot, we've done work directly for Eclipse, which has been really cool because they don't really do a lot of work outside of their own thing. They have some really
Yeah.
kind of top end anodizing. So for them to kind of branch out is really cool. And they're one of the few companies that you can't get raw markers from. So for them to send us some raw markers was a pretty big step in the hierarchy of the anodizing world. Um, Shoot, I know I'm missing more. Field One, we do a lot of the Field One stuff. So it
Nice.
pains me to see those guys shooting guns that I've anodized, shooting back at me. They're always joking. I need to put a little burr or something in some of their barrels,
Exactly. Yeah.
and at least some of the player guns. Yeah, we do all kinds of work for all around the industry, as well as your average Joe customer right off the street. We do um, one-off custom retail work all the time. That's a big majority of our work still.
I'd like to do that. I'd like to anodize something. I don't know what yet, but when I have something for you to anodize, then I'll let you know.
Let me know. I get that a lot. I'm like,
Yeah.
well, we see cool stuff. I just don't know what I want.
Yeah.
Just want
And I don't know
something.
what
But
I
yeah.
want to anodize. Like if I anodize a gun, then that gun I'm gonna have to keep it forever because it's like now it's special. So I got
Hmm.
to make sure it's the
Hmm.
right gun. But dude, Ryan, you're living the dream, man. You work in paintball, you play paintball professionally. Paintball is your life. I mean, is it not? Is it not living the dream?
It is awesome, and I mean, like I said, I left a really good corporate job. I was working at a Fortune 100 company right out of college, making good money, but not being able to do what I wanted to do, which is play paintball, travel, see this traveling circus of a bunch of
Mm,
friends several times a year all over the world. Um, and fortunately, I've been able to, develop a company that lets me still pay the bills and even hire some people and pay their bills and play paintball. So, and like I said, we're surrounded by paintball 24/7.
yeah.
I have hundreds of paintball guns in my shop right now. Um, so we get to see some of the cool new stuff coming down the pipeline that not quite out yet from companies. Things that are being developed. So me being just the big paintball nerd that I am, it's just so cool to
I
see,
love it.
like, oh, I get to see this thing from this company, a month before it comes out, and I already get to mess with it. And so it really is a lot of fun. No complaints over here.
Yeah. Dude, it's incredible. It's definitely living the dream, and I think a lot of people should strive for it because it's possible, right? You did it, so if you want to live the paintball dream, it is possible. You just gotta apply yourself. It sounds like you recognize that true wealth is in the experiences that you create and who you create them with, and you're achieving it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like to have a little nest egg and some equity in some certain things, and ways to eventually retire and not have to worry about life. But at the same time, it's like like I said, I was making really good money at one point in time. I was working 14 hours a day. I was scheduled for 12, working 14s. Uh, I was working. I was scheduled for 12 sixes, and I had I think Wednesday off on night shift, something like that. Crazy schedule, and found myself. I was like, well, I'm going to work. I'm coming home. You eat, maybe work out, do something, go to sleep, and then go back to work. And I was
It's like
making really good
prison.
money. Yeah, I was making great money, but I was like, man, you can't spend this money if you're just working all the time. And so, and then I was missing my friends. Like I said, I'll get pictures from my teammates at practice that I missed, and like, well, yeah, practice is practice, and we're all there to do a job. But at the same time, I like to go out to dinner with my buddies,
Yeah,
and do that whole experience or travel. I wasn't Europe was out of the question, for sure. And like I say, I'm not saying be the paintball bum and not take care of the rest of your life, but it's not all about money,
yeah,
and
for
it's something
sure.
that I learned very quickly.
Well, you talked about the experiences, right? That you've had in paintball. What is your most memorable experience that you've had from paintball?
Ooh, shoot. Uh, Man, there's so many. So in no particular order, I mean, going pro was a huge kind of check mark for me because I had like an interesting come up. I didn't go through all the divisions like a lot of people did. I kind of made a big leap. I went from Division 4 to semi-pro, played
Mm,
a season there and went pro. And so it was one of those things that I had almost written off. I was, I knew I was a good player, playing all around Texas, but I was like, well, you see the stories of, like the Marcellos, the Tyler Harmons, all these dudes going pro at like 16, and I was, I think, 20 at the
yeah,
time. I was like, it's not achievable if I'm not already on that track. And then the stars kind of aligned, and put in some work, and then went pro at 21, which is like my last goal. Is like if I don't go pro by 21, then I'm not going to go. It's just not going to
mm,
happen. And in hindsight, that doesn't have to be the end by any
exactly.
means, but that's
Yeah,
just the number that I put on it.
sure.
So that was a big goal for me, and that was really cool. But some of the most memorable experiences for sure. Playing in Europe was awesome. I wish they let more Americans play over there, and they
What part
still
of Europe?
do, all over. So we played the NXL circuit over there in Europe. I played with Amsterdam Heat, semi-pro team, with some really good friends of mine, TJ Jenner, Mark Johnson, Nathan Roberts, just to name a few. Basically, a lot of the core AC guys. We went over there, guessed it with the Amsterdam guys, which is the most fun team to play with. Um,
Yeah, I
and
bet.
then just travel all over Europe and kind of beating up in the semi-pro division. I think we won 3 or 4 of the event. I think we lost one event that season. We won the series. Got to see a lot of cool stuff. I remember one event we were playing in Chantilly. We had a morning game, and then instead of doing our homework and scouting and all the stuff we probably should have been doing, we went over to the castle next door and did a scooter tour, and then came back and we won our match, and we won that event.
There
So
you go. The
yeah,
experience has helped you.
oh my God, it was so much fun. Um,
That's a good one.
and then yeah, I got to play in Mexico a little bit. We played together in
Yeah,
Guadalajara. Got to play with
got second.
yeah, I got second. Not a bad turnout for a throw together team, but had some legends on the team for sure, which is also super cool. I get to play with some of the people that I've seen posters of and seen in magazines as a kid,
Yeah,
which is just awesome. Like I said, I've been playing for a while, but been a big nerd for even longer. And just kind of, I've always had like the faithful magazines, the paint magazines,
mm,
and all those kind of things. And just seeing and kind of getting to meet these people and live through that is really cool. So, and that wasn't even that long ago, was it? A year or two ago?
yeah,
So to still be able to be making those kind of memories is what I love about paintball. I mean,
absolutely.
you never know who you're going to meet or who you're going to get to play on a team with.
Who would you say is your favorite player to watch? Every time you see him playing, you gotta watch him.
Favorite player to watch.
They could be retired, they could be current, doesn't matter.
So I don't think this one would come up very often, but one of my very good buddies and good friend TJ Danner, I would say is my favorite player to watch. He's not the most exciting guy, but I I kind of came up in the AC paintball technical style of play, and I really appreciate the very technical paintball. And if you're close enough to watch that guy to where you can hear what he's saying and what he's doing, it really is a treat. I mean, that guy could play some amazing paintball, and he pulls some stuff out too, which is just awesome. And like I said, he's the most unassuming guy. And even on the field, just very unassuming, just kind of doing his job. But he makes some shots and pulls out some really crazy stuff. So I would give it to TJ.
That's a good one. Like, I like variety. You know, I don't get that. I don't think I've gotten that answer yet on this question. So it's definitely cool to hear some variety. How about, who do you think is the GOAT, the undisputed, the greatest of all time?
I'm gonna give it to Lasoya.
Yeah.
I got to. I mean, he is a good friend of mine, and no bias there. But the dude still got it. I mean, there's days where he's hurting and he's going 100% no matter what. You know, his knees giving out or his back's giving out, whatever it is. But,
totally, dude. It's real. You're not exaggerating.
That dude, I watched that guy. We played a tournament in Plata Carmen, an ICPL 10 man, and this was the thickest woods I've ever played in, to the point to where, I'm not kidding you, at one point we lined up to where, you know, you see your 10-foot, you got a guy 10 foot to your right, guy 10 feet to your left, and you're just clearing this jungle, waiting for somebody to step on somebody else. That's how thick this place
awesome.
was. I watched Chris from the start gate lay down and just army call straight. And about 3-4 minutes into the match, you would hear this, like, it's like, you know, the cartoon cats and dogs, like, there's this big scuffle, and then he would walk out, and 3-4 dudes would walk out with him. He still got it, and it's amazing. I watched him in I was playing with him in ICPL Maryland. We were playing the trench field, and we had gotten kind of, that field had trenches on both sides of a road, and the road was more or less no man's land. And we had gotten, you know, all the way up into our trenches. They're all the way up in our trenches. And eventually, to close this game, someone's going to have to go across no man's land. And just with perfect timing, Chris stands up, runs across it, jumps down into the trench, and gives a full, like, one of these, and just starts walking out with people.
Multiple games he did that, dude. Multiple games.
And he's just going down the trench, you know, still untouched or whatever. And I just look over, I think who was it? Ryan Brand was with me. I just look over, like, we have to go. Like, this is what we're going to. But it was just, it's just comical to watch. You know, he goes in there and just, like, is 007 people left and right, you know, digging people out of trenches. And it's like, you can't teach timing like that. And that's always what he was great at, you know, those big, crazy run-throughs, finding the seams, and he still got it. So I still love playing and watching Chris play. Yeah,
and at the Iron City one year, he surrendered Ira.
Yeah.
And, like, found a seam. Remember that?
Yeah, that picture went viral. I mean, even if that was the only thing, I'm not saying it was, but say that was the only thing that, you know, Chris did that entire event, it goes viral like that. I mean, it's still just like, the dude still got it. He's like, I'm going to shoot this guy, and then I'm going to walk up and surrender this guy.
Yeah. But he still did other moves besides that one. That one was just got the most attention, you know?
Yeah. Like I say, even the lead up to that picture, I think he shot a couple guys on the run through leading up to that. I was like, I'm just going to mess around with the last one just for fun.
Yeah. 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 He's the man, dude. He always has been. Still got it. Not as fast as he used to be, you know, but, like, it's about the timing, like you mentioned, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this game's all about, you know, angles and timing and fractions of a second, and he's still got it.
Yep. Okay, you ready for a hard one?
Let's go.
All right. Your favorite teammate?
Favorite teammate, current or in the past?
Well, hey, don't overthink it. I know you're trying to buy time.
Let's see. This is a tough, and they're both current. This is a really tough one between both Callie and Brett. I love playing with both of those guys. Brett is one of the smartest players I've ever played with. And that's why he's so lethal in 10 man. I mean, he's almost on the level of, like, Chris of the timing and seeing how the game's going to break down. He'll be 3 minutes into, you know, a 12-minute point saying, hey, we're going to have to do this. This is going to have to happen. And it's pretty awesome to see. And then Callie's a ton of fun on and off the field too. I mean, both those guys are.
Yeah. You can have two. You can pick two.
I'm gonna go Callie and Brett. I mean, the times we've had on the field and off the field is unreal, and those are the guys that I have group chats with the entire team and multiple people, but those two guys and maybe Zach and Travis, that group text always seems to be at the top. There's always someone who's bullshitting about this or that or whatever. And it's just a ton of fun. So
Yeah.
and that's one of the reasons why I enjoy this team is it off the field it is the most fun. And I think that's kind of how Travis modeled it. Back when it was Travis and LaSoya and Nikki and all these dudes, those dudes were having more fun off the field than on the field and still winning.
For sure.
So it is a ton of fun, and those guys make it even more fun.
It's good to hear that the infamous vibe, kind of like this misfits vibe of like troublemakers, is still there. Still living strong.
100%. My girlfriend always makes the joke is like my entire wardrobe is black. I mean, everything I'm wearing is black. So I mean, it's very much a vibe of like the big fuck you, we're gonna do what we want. The paintball badassery of old still continuing to new. It really is a ton of fun.
Burn the ships, baby.
Absolutely.
So Ryan, you're a paintball nerd, self-proclaimed,
Mm-hmm.
and every paintball nerd has their special stuff. Their special gear, item, whatever it may be. Sometimes it's a gun. What is your most cherished paintball item?
Well, I got it right here. Kind of alluded to, and I have some good ones too. I had to think about this because I've got some jerseys that have been in some big time paintball movies. I've got some really cool stuff, but this is the one that's the most sentimental to me right here. Where are we going?
Oh, is that the backwards three-way thing?
It is. It is.
Oh my gosh, you got to explain that for the people.
All right. So again, big autococker nerd. So I've always appreciated autocockers. This is some people call it a layback. Somebody call it a reverse autococker. Specifically, this is an eyeball autococker. There's only a few people that have ever kind of done this, and everyone's kind of got the claim to fame of being the first ones. This eyeball engineering, eyeball paintball, this was my local field always growing up. So way back in the 90s, they had their own little custom shop called Eyeball Engineering. It's kind of fun because they basically eyeballed everything and made it work. Everything's done by hand, hand turned lathe, hand turned machines. But essentially what they did here, the normal autococker, I wish I had another one so I can kind of show it to you. I just don't have it handy. Normal autococker has all your pneumatics up front. So your regulator, your three-way, and your ram. What they did here was they milled it into the side of the body. I keep going off the screen. They milled the ram into the side of the body and the three-way into the side of the vertical ASA here and kind of tucked it all up nice and neat. It's actually on the wrong side. So normally your three-way's on this side.
Yeah.
And you can only do these with the old autocockers. The old ones have enough meat in the front of the body to be able to mill and recess all this in there. And this one's got some kind of real trick stuff to it. Like it's got a P block, which, it doesn't seem too interesting today. But back in the day, they had to take the old square blocks and turn them backwards. So this actually has like the old plug where the old hole used to be on the wrong side.
That is special.
It's got a turn down bolt. So, it's not like a custom made one. You have to take an old one, turn it down. I mean, this gun was made in like 95. But they only made about 25 of these. And like I said, this was my local store, my local shop. So being a big autococker guy, this was kind of like always my holy grail. But you couldn't get them; they were impossible to find. Eyeball number 1 was like anodized 6 times, then nickel plated, and then basically essentially ruined. Eyeball number 2 was actually the one that they built they were supposed to have the craziest autococker versus the craziest auto mag at World Cup one year. So they built eyeball number 2, and that was kind of like what spawned all this craziness. They built autococker eyeball number 2 for that competition, and then made a few more for some of the guys that played on their factory team, things like that. And me being 10, 11, 12, just always wanted to hang out at the paintball field because I thought it was the coolest thing. eventually, I've become the local field rat, and I'm always there. And they let me kind of like go behind the counters and into some of the back rooms and things like that. And um, but when I was eventually in high school, after spending, I don't know, 5-10 years at the paintball field, I found this body kit in the very back next to the mill underneath a whole bunch of other body kits, just like kind of buried because they didn't do this kind of work
Raw?
anymore. Raw, never fully finished, just the raw body kit. And I found it, and we finished it up. So I was able to, choose the rest of my milling, choose the anodizing on it, all kinds of things like that. And they made it specifically for me. So being a big autococker nerd, and getting to me was the holy grail of autocockers. There's only, like I said, like 25 of them, and they stopped making them in the 90s. And to be able to get one factory raw, and have it done exactly the way I wanted it done was really cool. And that's why, I mean, this is one of those things that goes in the very bottom of the deepest, darkest gear bag I have, and just forget about it because it'll never ever get sold. And just pull it out every now and then to remind myself I still have it, and mess around with it. But I actually took this out to Bunker Fest and just kind of had it on our display wall. And this was one of the main things that people stopped and looked at, which is really, really cool. So still turning heads.
You got the Air America reg on there.
Yep, Air America Black Ice reg.
Front.
This is actually a Bob Long 45 frame that's been thinned down to take the single panel grips. So custom grip mounts, thinned down to do the custom smart parts wood grips.
What kind of valve and hammer you got in there?
I think it's a CCM valve.
Nice.
It's a custom hammer. Let's see what else we got in here.
Roller sear?
Roller sear, aka plate. This is kind of cool. This is one thing they used to do. This trigger shoe that they did. If you look at it, what side are we on? Right here on the other side, there is a set screw. You see it right there, and that's actually
for the back travel.
So that's kind of a pretty cool little trick thing they did. They were one of the first shops to actually also put the drill and tap the hole up here in the front to take that the pre-travel out. So it's got a pre and post travel adjustment, which is pretty cool for autocockers. Plus the vertical ones. What else is in this thing?
So that milling wasn't. It was just total like raw unmilled. You put that kind of fulcrum milling in it.
Yeah. So it was the sight rail was already off. Oh, this is another cool little thing. So it's a right feed, obviously. In the you see the little holes right there to prevent any kind of blowback up the feed.
Well, if it's timed right, you don't have to worry.
You shouldn't have it, but
you shouldn't have it.
That is pretty cool that they did that. They did that on all their eyeballs, so that's kind of like a characteristic trait. But yeah, cool. Essentially, when I found it, it was all the side was already milled out. The vertical was already milled for the because to do this, you actually have to weld up the top of the vertical and then remill it.
Gotcha.
So that was already done. The sight rail was already done. I had them. The P block was already done. So basically, put the pills in it, and I think open up this window. And I think that was all I ended up doing to it. And then getting it anodized. This is actually before I was anodizing, so I'm not going to take claim to this one. But a pretty factory period correct camo splash.
Yeah.
But yeah, this one's my baby. It kind of has like all the old school tricks. It even has the micro line still on it, so not even a macro line. Still got micro on it.
That's special, dude. That's a really cool item. I love it. I'm a cocker nerd too, but I don't have anything that special. I just got my ultralight cocker right there. You can see it on the screen.
I was eyeballing that one. It looks nice. I couldn't quite tell what it was. I didn't know if that was an old Ironman one or not.
So it's an ultralight.
Nice. Okay. It's been redone. Yeah, gunfighter frame. Cool.
Yep. I put a gunfighter frame on it, and I'm not sure what pneumatics these are, but it's got a Shock Tech bomb 3-way because of course you need that with the gunfighter. And then when I worked at Dye, I polished this body and then I put stickers on it. So as you can see, it's got my name right there.
Yep.
And an Ironman shield, and
Very
then a little
cool.
like Lisa Harvey skull right here. So I put those stickers on, then I bead blasted it before I anodized it, and that's what gave it the little tattoo thing. So yeah, I rarely play with it, but
They're cool to have.
They're cool to have. I love the sound of them, like the back block going back and forth. And but the mechanical guns today, like the EMEX,
they're outrageous.
They're so good. It's like I can shoot one faster than 10.5 balls a second. Like
easily, they shoot faster than my team gun. There's something in the back. I don't know if that's me or you. Let me close the door.
It could be your ceiling fan. Oh, I hear it. I hear it now that you mention it.
So yeah, on the topic of the new mechanical guns, for the first ICC, I had my eyeball, but I didn't want to just be diving in the clay and all kinds of crazy stuff with that. And I had kind of gotten rid of a lot of my autocockers because I never got to use them. I was playing tournaments full time, just never can use them. And I always had like one or two. But for the first ICC, I built a Meteor autococker with all ShockTech parts on it, and the gun was wicked. It was a nice autococker. Those Meteor ones have the 11/16 valves in them, so a lot of airflow, and the ShockTech stuff is very top end, very nice. So I built that autococker, and I think a lot of the guys were using G-Mex or whatever they were. Some of the first Eclipse. Yeah, some the slide frame ones, not the ones the EMEX that we have now, and that cocker was out shooting a lot of those. I mean, it a little heavier, a little bigger, but the shot of the autococker is amazing, and if you can really get on them, they're just so much fun to shoot. So by no means a hindrance in that first ICC, and I remember I brought it back the next year, and the original EMEC had came out at that point. And it was just leaving everything in the dust. And Shocker had their CVOs, or I don't think they were on the CVO yet, but they had some kind of mechanical shocker at that point. And those guns were just already surpassed the autococker. And now the EMEX that they're coming out with now, and like the Adrenaline Luxes and the CS3s and CS3, CS2s, mechanicals. I mean, the guns are ridiculous. They'll shoot 18 balls a second. I've seen Brett Messer shoot 19 balls a second on a CS2, sustained, and not doing some kind of weird fanning thing. He'll sit there in his bunker, shoot it. It's outrageous.
I've seen
I've seen Archie's gun. We were playing the Maryland ICPL. Archie's gun got pulled for shooting too fast. They're getting ridiculous, but it's cool. It's back to the arms race of mechanical paintball that was going on in the 90s and in early 2000s.
Yes, and it's good for the sport. And it's kind of like the equalizer. Well, maybe not an equalizer. Maybe that's the wrong term, but it makes shooting fast a skill set again.
For sure, because you get guys that shoot fast, but then they're just blending paint. And that's kind of how it was back in the day with cockers. Like if you shot too fast and didn't shoot correctly, you short stroke it or whatever, or wasn't timed right, you're blending paint.
For sure.
And that's how it is now. But even if you get a gun that won't break the paint to save its life, some guys are only getting 7-8 balls a second out of it, and some guys are shooting 18. And it's off the break and just in general in the game, that's a huge advantage. And I don't think people realize how much of an advantage that is now, but because everyone's used to, well, he's got the same gun more or less than I do. It's made by a different manufacturer, but it has the same stats as mine, right? But
dude, what do you think would happen if, let's just be nerds for a second. Okay. So let's say in the NXL, they got rid of electronic frames and 10.5 balls a second, and it was mechanical uncapped. What do you think that would do to the game?
I think...
Do you think Dynasty would still be winning?
I mean, I've seen those guys win ICC.
That's true.
They actually beat us one year. I think it was my first year playing ICC. They actually beat us. They got first. We got second. So those guys still got it in multiple formats.
But there would be players that don't know how to shoot fast.
100%. So then it would be, okay, there's going to be a learning curve for a few events or a year or however long until everyone figures out how to shoot fast. And then we're back to the days of everyone shooting 15 balls a second off the break. And it's like, okay, well, how do you make spots? the game and the NXL and Jason Trojan and a lot of these guys have done a lot of stuff to keep evolving the game. We keep adding bunkers or bigger bunkers, and
Yeah.
they go from, okay, we're gonna make it hard to live on the break, to now let's see what happens if everyone lives on the break. And then the game sped up because you have so many more guns, but then it slowed back down again because everyone's like, well, I know they're gonna be 5 alive and we're gonna be 5 alive most of the time, and then we're gonna have to figure that out. So it there's ebbs and flows into the speed of the game and the style. And right now we're in on Sunday it's pretty much 5 alive. Those are the breaks that you take, and nobody wants to risk losing that body on the break. And if you can, well then all you got to do is try not to throw that point away, right?
Yeah.
Which you can still do, But then the game slows
they
down
got
a bit
good
more.
thing going.
Yeah, for sure. So you'll see. I mean, shoot, when I went pro, at first, I remember playing games, ending 7-9, and now half the games end 2-1.
True. That's a good point.
It's same game time, 15, 16-minute game times.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's because the layouts are a little bit different and making spots is different. That's a good point.
Yeah, and so, like I said, when I went pro, you're still shooting 10.2, so that hasn't changed. A few bunker changes, but for a lot of it's field layout dependent, and that is done purposely to change the game.
Yeah. So Ryan, what advice would you give to someone who wants to create a career in paintball, both professionally, like playing wise, and in the industry as well?
So, in general, to make it to pro, I always tell people, they ask like, what do I do, this and that, because I do, like I said, I kind of accelerate pretty quickly, and I always just told them paintball is one of those games. It's a lot like golf, and that everybody sucks at golf. If you don't suck, you're going to get paid to do it, and that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
But everyone sucks when they start, and it's a matter of how much do you want to work to get better. And there's such an equalizer in paintball, in the paintball gun, and that a lot of it's mental and a lot of it's some technique here and there. So it's just developing these weird techniques. And I mean, I can't tell you how many people I know that are professional shooters that tell me I shoot wrong. I shoot off the wrong foot, because the way they're managing recoil and they're taught to do these things, we're not doing those same things. So they're like, oh, you're in a shooting sport, you should be doing the same thing. And we're leading with the wrong foot or leaning the wrong way. And it's like, I mean, we're doing something right, because we're at the highest level of paintball.
Yeah.
So
it's not. They don't know.
It's something that it's you learn through playing and through doing, and no other way. So
True.
to get to that level, you simply have to just play a ton of paintball. And I always tell people, don't go spend your money on the new gun or the new goggle or this and that. And all the people, all the in the industry are gonna hate me for this. But buy paint and go play paintball. Whatever you have to do to play paintball that day, play paintball. If you have to shoot 200 rounds the whole day, do that. Whatever it takes to get a paintball gun in your hand and shooting paintballs downrange. You don't have to buy cases and cases and cases. I'm not saying it takes that. I used to play pump paintball at my local field for years, and I developed really good gun skills because of it. But I played pump because I couldn't afford paint. I'd go out there with a bag of paint and you could play all day. So whatever you have to do to be able to just get on the field and play paintball, that's the goal. The reason I accelerated so fast was simply because the stars kind of aligned, and I was able to play paintball for 4 or 5 days in every single week, and not just like shoot 10 balls and be done. I was able to shoot a case of paint 4 or 5 times a week, which is a very privileged position to be in. I'm not going to say it's not, but I had people that believed in me, and there's certain stars that aligned in like the Greg Pollies and the Texas A&M paintball team, and things that allowed me just to be behind a paintball gun more than anybody else, I would say probably in the league, and I accelerated super fast. So there's no mystery behind paintball. I mean, play paintball, and that's really where it comes down to. Sure, speed helps, mental capacity helps. There's things that help, but you don't have to have every single component and God-given abilities to be able to reach the highest level.
How about in the industry?
In the industry, yeah, like I said, I've been fortunate and to be able to do well in what we do. But really, I think a lot of that just stems from it's something I really enjoy. This is something that I was doing. I spent days going through anodizing product pages and stuff from old anodizers when I was sending guns off to get anodized, just digging, seeing what I liked, what I didn't like, and just you know acquiring knowledge. And this is before I was actually doing anodizing. I just looking and looking and looking, and I know a lot of the old classic anodizing names of camos and fades and splashes and things like that, just from being a huge nerd. So it's something that I was doing for free already, essentially.
Uh-huh.
Now I'm just taking it one step further, and I'm doing the actual work of it, which is a skill you have to develop. Don't get me wrong, but like I said, it's something that I was doing for free, and now I'm fortunate enough to be able to make some money doing it. So again, kind of the stars align kind of thing. Find what you can do to make you some money and enjoy doing it. That's everybody's dream, right? Doing what you love. And
Exactly, man. You're passionate about it.
yeah. Fortunately, mine aligns with paintball too, and it lets me play more paintball. I can be my own boss. I can take some time off and go play more paintball.
What are you most thankful for that paintball's given you?
Definitely the friendship. And it's cliche to say, but so for example, this year I bought a house that we're in now, and it needed a lot of work, needed a lot of things, and my girlfriend I can't tell you how many times she's like, how do you have a guy that knows how to do that? And it's like, because of paintball. And I've got a electrical guy, I've got a plumbing guy, I've got a roofing guy, all
Yep.
people that I've played paintball with. I've got guys that I'm looking at my window right now. I have the greenest yard in the neighborhood because I know a guy that plays paintball and it owns a badass landscaping business over in Dallas, and Mark Johnson. And he kind of lined it all up, gave me the regimen. Here's what you need. Here's what you got to do. And now I have an awesome green yard. It's a unique situation in that most people, they they meet people through work or at the gym or whatever, right? And everybody has their own hobbies they do, but what they do professionally, that's where you say you meet people. Like I said, if you meet people at work.
Yeah.
We are the opposite in that we have this hobby, but we all work and do different things.
Yes.
So it's a kind of an outside in thing. And like I said, I can anything I need or whatever, I can call somebody and they've probably done it or know somebody that does it or whatever. And it's because we all share this hobby and do things professionally. So it's kind of like an outside in perspective on it. But then you just meet people, and even if you're not, I'm not saying that you should get something out of every person that you ever meet in paintball, but the fact that I can go to a tournament 5 to 10 times a year and see the same people and never see them anywhere in between, but I know they'll be there. And you pick up right where you left off. You have that
Yep.
beer that you didn't have, the last time because you had to catch a flight or whatever. And just carry on and talk about whatever. And it's just a really cool sport. And like I say, it's cliche to sound. It sounds really cliche, but it really is cool.
What, cliche or not, everyone answers that question the same way. I agree with it. It's one of the things that makes our sport so awesome, and why I think more people should play it. So awesome, Ryan, dude. I really appreciate your time here. Thank you for spending it with me. Is there anything that you'd like to part with for the paintball community?
So first of all, go like Infamous, root for us at the Mid-Atlantic Open. If you haven't already, check out Arc Anodizing, Facebook, Instagram, anything like that. And stop by and say hi. If you ever see events, I'll love to talk paintball with you, talk anodizing with you, bullshit about green yards or whatever it is. But yeah, it's been such an enjoyable ride. I mean, if you can keep playing paintball, you'll meet some amazing people, and you'll get to do some amazing things, and that's really kind of it. That's what I'll leave it on.
Awesome. Thanks, Ryan.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.